that say public notice. So people think you're going bankrupt. So, or like you're announcing that it's for closing, or it gives you, they say the public notice. They always want to see what the public notice is going to say. That's the key one in the sewing machine world. And then something that's kind of
So you've almost gone out of business several times. So
well, you don't want to think you're going out of business because then they start not coming in. Right. And then the other one, which gets some people pretty excited about, is wife wanted. If you put wife wanted at the top of an ad, everybody reads it.
Really? Have you done it before?
It's kind of tacky.
That's kind of funny. So what is your main source of advertising then?
Newspaper. P-Type News.
Do you do radio or television?
We've done radio. Haven't done any television because it focuses on such a huge area over here.
Right.
But if you lived on the island, they do TV because they have that Vancouver Island TV.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Local for them.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
radio we've done in groups, like with the sewing machine companies, not like maybe 6 different stores will advertise one product.
Oh, so like you advertise a product
as a group, yeah.
You show me some things for now, right? When you first took over this business, when you started this business, did you have concerns about competitors, such as Fabricland or Fanny's Fabric?
When I first bought the store, 6 weeks later, a fabric store opened up for me a half a block away.
Really?
So I thought, it's just down on Russell, right where, when you walk past the Deeds, around the corner there.
Yeah.
Where that dollar store is now, right there.
Yeah. So what do you think?
I thought I was going to die.
Did you?
Yeah, well, brand new shiny building, brand new fixtures, brand new fabric.
That was the 50s, right? So it wasn't that brand new.
and there's been 2 other fabric stores.
So were you worried?
I was very worried.
And
how did we deal with that?
Yeah.
Friendly, helpful, knowledgeable service. Withstood 4 different fabric stores. And always being able to help and being positive with your customers. Trying to keep with what they wanted. Oh, and every time I think I forgot it.
Oh, that's really good.
And, and never cutting down the competition. That's one thing, actually that's very important where some stores tend to cut down other products.
Right.
Never cut down the competitors. I mean, it's always be honest.
Right.
So your employees have to be honest, you have to be honest to the customer about the product.
Right.
Not about everything. But never cut down the competitor because then that turns people off going into that shop. And never cut down what they're selling. Just be honest and say you don't know or you haven't had any luck with it. Maybe they've improved. But never say, oh, that's nasty. Like I want to buy one of those.
Right. And so when Fabricland or when these other fabric stores were there, did you notice? Was there drops in everything? Was there drops in income? Or were you surprised how little it did? Or what was that?
No, actually, that's what I was going to tell you. That you need competition to run a healthy business. And that's why Starbucks opens up right beside Tim Hortons. Because you got the 2 of them there. If you don't have competition, so now we don't have any competition in White Rock. And people come in and say, oh, you must love it. You know, you're the only fabric store here. And we don't like it. I would be much happier if someone would move in. Because then you got someone to compete with. You can compete on prices. You compete on sales. You have a motivating factor. And right now what happens is people drive, because we're on this little peninsula, because of my poorly chosen location, maybe, people are going to drive to Langley and go to all the fabric stores. So they're going to say drive for half an hour or to Richmond or, it's pretty much the choices now. Go for half an hour, see what they think, and then think, oh, this isn't really what I want, but I better take this because I don't know if Laura's store will have anything better,
Right.
right? So we're losing out, because when people shop, they like to shop and compare. So
Right.
they like to go to the mall and go into 3 or 4 stores, and if we're the only ones,
And so you're confident that if employees actually got to, or sorry, customers actually got to the full perspective, that they would choose you?
yeah. Oh yeah, I'd rather have the competition. Right, actually when people say that, they think it's a good thing, but it's better to have, if you're going to open up a fabric store, you want next to or close to another one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. We finished all those questions. Okay, here's that question. If you could have a job, paying the same wage, using the same hours, everything's the same, imagine if you could, do you think you'd still like being an entrepreneur, a business owner? You'd rather have a job where you go to do your job, you might have some stress at work, your boss might be yelling at you, like, hey Laura, come on, we need the papers done. But then at the end of the day, you just pack up and go home.
And don't
And
have
then
anything
that's
to
the
think
end of your
about.
day, and you just go back to the next morning. So, basically, yeah. So, I don't know. What do you think of both? Name some advantages and disadvantages, yeah.
The pros of that is when you go home and you don't have anything to think about. It's not your problem.
Right.
And when you go on holidays and you don't worry about it. I think one thing is why my employees have stuck around so well, jumping off on a different topic, is that I think they do think about it, like what they can be doing to help the business do better.
Right.
So they feel part of the business. But to answer your question, I've only worked as a waitress for a little bit at the Bay and a fabric store for a few months, so I don't really have any experience of not having this. But some days the stress is pretty, when you're getting close to the red, it can be very stressful. But to say would I have chosen another course, I don't think so. The excitement is as exciting as the stress.
Right. How is your relationship with your employees?
Good.
Strong?
Good. I like to treat them, and every business is going to be different, but I like to treat them equally, and we like to work as a team, and we try not to have a manager, even though I'm the boss, but everybody has stuff they're in charge of. It's tricky though. Some of them are friends with each other outside of work, and I try to keep it sort of at a constant, because if you're more friends with someone, then you have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So we try to invite everybody over, else nobody over.
That's good. Can you separate your personal life from your business?
It's hard.
Okay.
Well, say for example when I had you and Christopher, I was doing payroll in the hospital after you were born, right? There's no maternity leave.
So it sounds like that, yeah.
Yeah, so you're getting phone calls continuously, right?
Right.
Alarms are going off in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
It's a 24-hour.
So I guess that's one of the things about being a business owner. All the responsibility is yours, right?
Yours in the end, yeah.
It's a sole proprietorship. You bear all the losses or gains. You make $1 million, hey, if you're happy.
Happy if you lose $1 million? You're not so happy.
Exactly. I'm just going to pause it for 1 second.